Mike is here. What's up? It's me, Tom. We've got Dave. We've got Tim. We've got Jordan. What's up, boys? NFL Week 1 is upon us. We had a nice little appetizer of an opening night last night in Kansas City. We got another amuse-bouche, if you will, in Sao Paulo tonight. But we're here today to discuss the main course, the big Week 1 NFL Sunday slate, which we always cover right here at PTM on Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern. We've got our knives sharpened and we're ready to eat. But before we feast, today's podcast, as always, is presented by Props.Cash. We've teamed up with Props.Cash again this season because, like I always say, we 100% could not do what we do without Props.Cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at sign up to get 25% off your first month. Also, I want to just shout out the PTM Discord, which all 4 of us are active cappers in, and you can join us today using the same PTM discount code for 25% off. I'm so excited to be here with you boys. Feels like I've been waiting for this moment for an eternity, but we finally made it. How you boys doing? Everyone else as excited as I am?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Oh, 100%.
Real quick before I jump in.
Go ahead, yeah.
Notice, remember, by start of season, anybody that's been here a long time, I got the Plumlee, I got the jersey up. Remember you told me I had to have it up by kickoff.
Dude,
So my homework is complete.
Impressive.
I forgot until I saw it in the background. So anyways, yeah, I'm stoked. Feels like we're at day one, like we're starting. I'm excited.
Yeah. I felt like going to bed on Wednesday night. I was like, this feels like Christmas Eve almost.
Yes.
Just like trying to wake up, like ready for it the next day. I was like, this is like a grown man Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
100%.
I like how you called last night the appetizer, Tom. It was like bacon wrapped scallops, I think, is the appetizer that we got last night, because that was a hell of a game there, man. That was a lot of fun.
So good.
It's like, how do you start off the NFL season with a better game than that? It comes down to like one catch on the last play of the game, toe on the line. Portnoy lost $300,000 on that play. It was crazy, man.
It was very close.
A lot of people who were hoping that his toe was in, but awesome game. And like Tom said, we got one tonight. Before we dive into the Sunday slate, we'll just kind of recap. We did have a pod come out 2 days ago covering yesterday's game and tonight's game. So make sure you go back in our Twitter feed or up on YouTube and find that one. But tonight's game, we're not going to cover it in depth here because we got all the analysis there. But we did like Barkley rushing yards. We like Jalen Reed's receptions and receiving yards. Devonta Smith receiving yards and receptions. And we got a nice little builder up on X and in the Discord as well. So make sure you check that out for tonight's game. We got a lot of good picks on that one.
I dropped a heater. I love in there too.
Nice. Love that.
Very excited about it. Very excited.
All right.
Hey, remember when I said tight ends though? Remember when you put the thing in the Discord and I said you left out the option? Tight ends were a big factor, just not the ones we thought. Isaiah Likely is for real. He's been coming up.
Yeah, dude.
Anybody who drafted him in fantasy is stoked right now.
Isaiah Likely and
100%.
and my boy Noah Gray, who just got paid yesterday. He was
Almost scored too. He should have
Yeah.
scored on that. We would have had 2 of the wrong tight ends scoring. It would have been so right.
All right, let's
Crazy.
go. Let's go to the first 1 p.m. game. We got Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Atlanta's -3.5 at home. The new look Atlanta Falcons. Total in this one's 41.5. Let's start with you, Tom. What do you like in this game?
Surprisingly, I might have the most picks of any game. Might actually be from this game for some reason. I don't know why. I guess you get the Arthur Smith revenge. After 3 seasons in Atlanta, I think it was. Now he's the new offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. Everyone in Pittsburgh's happy that Matt Canada is now gone. I think the biggest opportunity we have here is we know Arthur Smith loves to run the ball at a high rate, just like Mike Tomlin does. They're brothers in that run first approach. Last season, Pittsburgh was number 1 in rushing rate on early downs. For comparison, Arthur Smith in Atlanta was number 5. So very similar offensive philosophy. So the only issue with Pittsburgh is they have like a running back committee, right? With Harris and Warren. So it's like, who are you going to go with here? I was leaning Harris earlier in the week because there was, Warren was on the injury report. But it looks like, in everything I've seen today, it looks like he is set to play. In that case, I do like him. He's the much more explosive back here. For example, Najee Harris, 3.9 yards per carry last season. Jaylen Warren, 5.1. Najee Harris, 8.3 explosive run rate. Jaylen Warren, 15.5, almost double. Najee Harris, a higher negative run rate. Only 2.9 yards after contact, whereas Jaylen Warren, 3.5 yards after contact. So I feel like Arthur Smith, assuming Warren is healthy, is gonna see that he's probably the more explosive, the more dynamic of the two. Is gonna lean into him a bit. His line is much lower, 28.5 rushing yards. He's done that in 13 of his last 16 games. And actually, if you look at him on the road, they are playing in Atlanta. Last season, he was 9 for 9 on the road. Wow. Clearing that line of 28.5, just squeaking by though, you see early on. But I like that. I also, earlier in the week, I also was on Najee Harris. He's done that. He's cleared his line 52.5 in 10 of 11 games. I honestly think both of these are probably good. Sorry, that was 10 of 11 games with at least 13 carries. So it knocked out a couple of games where, for whatever reason, his attempts were down. But I like both running backs for Pittsburgh in this spot against Atlanta. Was that something any of you guys were on?
Yeah, I was definitely on Warren.
Yeah.
I was debating between his receiving yards at 15.5 versus his rushing yards at 28.5. We can take a quick look at his receiving yards. It's also a very...
I actually had his receiving yards written down. So
perfect.
That was a play I really liked.
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
15.5 at DK. Yeah.
Actually, DK
14.5
you can get it at 14.5.
Yep.
I like that even more. And if you're bullish on him, don't forget, you can always play the rush plus receiving. That's always a nice option. I mean, that gives you a lot of flexibility with a guy who we're not totally sure how he's going to be used, but he'll probably get about 7 carries in this game, and probably 3 or 4 receptions. So I think he's a good spot in here. So I think it's a great way to start it off.
Yep. And we know Arthur Smith loves committees as much as people hated it last year with Bijan. Everybody that had Bijan in fantasy was like, stop giving Algier carries. So
yeah,
I'm a fan of this.
Awesome. Tom, anything else before we kick it off to the rest of the guys?
Yeah, real quick. So Atlanta also, in Arthur Smith's 3 seasons in Atlanta, they were second in tight end target rate over that time. So the Steelers have Pat Freiermuth over there. He was limited to just 12 games last season behind terrible quarterback play. I think his quarterback play should be elevated slightly. Since the 2021 season, when he's been targeted just 3 times in a game, he has a 75% hit rate on his receiving yard total. It's actually, can you still get it? I got it. I got it at 25.5 on DK the other day. Has it crept up?
It's 27.5.
All right, see, it's going up. It was 25. Yeah.
I got to check this out though. This says Caesars has it at 21.5. So
that's crazy.
Crazy value.
Yeah.
You can get that. So I'm going to go look at that after.
But when he's been targeted 3 times, he's 27 for 36 over since the 2021 season, averaging 43.2 yards per game. So I think even at 27.5, given how Arthur Smith likes to deploy the tight end and target his tight end, I think this is a nice spot for Freiermuth here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anything else from this game, Tom?
I've one on the Chicago side. On the
Atlanta side.
On the Atlanta side. So they have a whole new coaching staff in Atlanta, right? They're all from the Rams. So we can look to see what the Rams do. And what do the Rams do? A lot of 3 wide receiver sets. I think you're going to see a lot of wide receiver action here. So I'm targeting Darnell Mooney here. The reason why, in 4 seasons. What was that your play, Tim?
Yeah, nice work. Nice work. They got
Very
Kirk,
nice.
dude. Kirk's gonna sling it. Nice. I love this. We're on the same page. It's great.
Yeah.
Kirko Chains.
In 4 seasons in Chicago, 16.4% of the targets to Mooney were inaccurate. The only player with a higher percentage over the last 4 seasons was Marquise Brown. 39% of his targets of 20 plus yards downfield were inaccurate. 39%. It was the highest rate in the NFL. League average is only 29%. So this guy just was like getting terrible balls thrown to him. Now, who does he have throwing him the ball? Kirk Cousins in this Rams style offense. I got him at 31.5 receiving yards. He's done in 22 of his last 25 games when he's had 3+ receptions. That's an 88% hit rate, averaging 64.8 yards per game. Even at 2 receptions per game, he's got a 76% hit rate at 55 yards per game. So love this spot for Mooney with the new situation in Atlanta.
And he's got Justin Fields over on the other sideline watching him. So he's going to be motivated to do it,
good
for
call.
sure.
Good call.
All right. Jordan, you have anything else for this game that we didn't cover?
No, I just had that Warren receptions line put down. I think that Wilson's going to dump off a few, so I really like that. So I'm with you on that.
Nice. Tim? Well, all
Yeah,
set?
I was just gonna add the Kirk Cousins. I think people are forgetting that Kirk Cousins plays there. He's gone under 30 attempts, like 5 times in his career, passing attempts. And I just think Mooney's going to get targets. And like you said, they're going to be accurate. You know what he did. You know what he's done. He slings the ball. He's not going to run. They're going to run that 3 wide receiver offense. They're going to have tight ends involved. And TJ Hawkinson's out, no longer in the picture. He's got Kyle Pitts. Is he going to be his new Hawkinson who's always injured? You know, that's obviously a narrative. I think Darnell Mooney has a lot of value. I was looking at him like 3 receptions. I'm throwing him 2 receptions in any builder in this game. I think that's like it's just good to go. I love it. I think he's going to have a breakout season.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Let's move on. We got Arizona at Buffalo. Buffalo's -6.5 at home. 47.5 is the total in this game. We got the Buffalo Bills with no receivers this year. Let's see how this one plays out. Jordan, you got anything for this game?
Yeah, I really like Trey McBride's receptions. If you look at Trey McBride's receptions with Kyler Murray on the season, so if you just like go players and add Kyler Murray, then it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
So yeah, I really like Trey McBride's to hit his receptions line. I know they have Marvin Harrison Jr. And I know he's like Jesus of rookie receivers, but I still think Trey McBride's going to get plenty of volume. I even think that actually might open things up for him. I think if Harrison Jr. is getting a little bit more attention, that McBride may be able to just get open even more. And I heard this offseason that the coach and head coach and also Kyler Murray were like trying to encourage him to run his own routes like Travis Kelce does because they think he's that good, which probably is making the offensive coordinator scream. But I think he's going to like end up making a lot of getting open a lot. He's going to be a huge safety valve for Kyler Murray this year.
Nice.
He's getting drafted in fantasy like he's a top 3 quarterback recently too. He's been shooting up boards. Like I've seen him go in 3rd rounds and stuff. So there's a lot of hype. What you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I know you were on his futures pick as well, right, McBride? So
yeah, I had him over. I think he's around 800 yards receiving for the year, which I think he's going to smash that.
All right, cool. Tim, anything for this game?
Nothing I'm stoked on. The Josh Allen rush attempts was the only angle I took. I was looking at kind of last season. He tends to start slowly and then really ramp up. Like his last 4 of the season last year, 11, 15, 8, 12. First 5, 6, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2. So yeah. I think we're getting a 6.5 based on those numbers. So I don't love it. Who's he going to throw to, right? He's going to be scrambling. He's going to have to force it. Look at what Lamar Jackson did last night. I picture that being a game. I don't know if I'm willing to bet my real currency on it, but that narrative is what attracted me, is him running for his life more so than normal. I
kind of love that.
Yeah. I'm trying to talk myself out of it, but the more I talk negatively, I'm like, yeah, he's going to have like, I thought the line would be 7.5 personally. So 8.5 or 6.5 at -120 ish is that's a very playable line for me. So I may have just talked myself into that play.
Good. Tom, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, if you look at when
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jordan.
Go ahead, Jordan.
I was gonna say, if you look at when they changed offensive coordinators last year, they ended up like running the ball with Allen a lot more once they switched offensive coordinators. So I think it's going to end up being a huge part of that. So I think that's why you see like that first little half of the season to where he's not really hitting his line, and then he starts hitting his line around the season. New offensive coordinator comes in, starts letting Josh Allen just be Josh Allen. So I like that.
And they
If you threw
winning.
5, my bad. If you threw 5 or 6 attempts alt, if you can get alt rushing attempts on him, I'd put that anywhere as well.
Yeah, they started winning games in the back half when he was getting 8, 9
go
attempts.
figure.
So if they want to keep winning, he's going to have to run the ball.
that's
Tom,
what I
what do you
like
got
that.
in this one?
So speaking of rush attempts, the guy in the backfield with him, James Cook, 13.5 rush attempts. I love this spot for him. He's done it in, I think, 7 of his last 8 home games, including 5 straight. But that's not why I like it. I mean, I do like it for that reason, but Arizona has the worst front 7 ranking in the league. They allowed, if I went back into our model from last year, they allowed the most rush attempts last season by quite a good amount. I mean, literally, I could run down this list. Saquon Barkley, 17, Pollard, 23, McCaffrey, 20, Mixon, 25, Williams, 20, Gus Edwards, 19. Like, nobody ran for less than 14 carries. I mean, you had Kyron Williams and Royce Freeman combined for 29 rush attempts in a game against them. That was another game against them last season. I just think this is an awesome spot. Love him at 13.5 rush attempts here.
Beautiful. Yeah. Just a little educational sidebar. Props Like Cash has upgraded their screens, which are beautiful, as we said the other day. But if you're looking for these player comps, they're down here in this corner over here. So if you want to see, this is at least on the web. If you want to see how opposing running backs have performed against the team, then you just basically go down here, hit this button.
Yeah, I mean, look at that list there when you go down. I mean, it's a beautiful. Look at that. It's beautiful.
It looks like passing attempts. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. What do you guys think about James Conner in this game? Speaking of running backs, any thoughts on him?
Didn't look at him too much. What were you looking at?
Yeah.
I think the rush attempts is a nice look here as well. You know, the Buffalo pass defense was pretty solid last year as well. And obviously, with the return of Murray, that could take a little share away from Conner. But if you look towards the end of the season, even with Murray in place, you know, Conner had some games that were 25 plus rush attempts. So I think he's good for 12.5. But if you're concerned about that, you could take that down a little bit and pair it with Cook and maybe get them both for 12 or something like that.
Nice.
All right.
I liked Murray's. I like Murray's rush yards over. I just wanted to like a builder piece out of that. 25 plus rush yards is a little builder piece to like if you want to throw that in with something. I think that's a good spot, especially if you look at like versus Buffalo, some of the quarterbacks and their rushing lines. I think you were saying that Buffalo has a pretty good pass defense. They have good pass rush. They have good. They have good secondary. I think they end up having a lot of quarterbacks having to like get out of the pocket and just tuck it and run because the coverage is so good downfield. And there's a lot of green when you look at that list of quarterbacks. So I really like
not just that. I think Arizona's offensive line is so bad that I think that's also going to cause Murray to have to pocket breaking down. And that was definitely one of my leans there. You had some nice ones like Russell Wilson ran for 30 yards last season. Jalen Hurts, 65. Dak Prescott, 27. Tyrod Taylor, 24. So I love that 25-yard piece as a builder for sure.
All right. Let's move on. Tennessee at Chicago. Chicago's -3.5 at home. Total is 44.5 in this one. We'll start back with you, Tom. Who do you like in this?
Tennessee, Chicago. Got my notes here. All right. I think my play here is the guy that I played a lot last season too. So Tennessee has the 30th ranked front seven. These are Warren Sharp does a beautiful like preseason ranking. So I lean into that quite a bit, especially early on in the season. Tennessee has the 30th ranked front seven. Chicago has the 12th ranked offensive line. So you got a little bit of a mismatch there. I think you got the rookie and Caleb Williams. I think he probably will lean on a veteran, running back, free agent running back that they want to get involved in DeAndre Swift. So I like him both for rush yards. You have that there. I had it at 42.5. Looks like maybe it's crept up a little bit. He was 12 for 15 last season when he had 7+ carries in a game. I think we see him with 7 or more carries here. When he had 12 or more carries last season, he was 12 for 12. All 12 games that he had 12 carries, he cleared this line, averaging 81.3 rush yards, and his line is only 42.5. So I like that. Also like his rushing receiving. Though he didn't get there as much during his time in Philly, back when he was on the Lions, he was a little bit more involved in the receiving game out of the backfield. So I like that as well. Also, you could see some of that happening with Caleb Williams. Maybe some little dump offs to Swift. It was 58.5 rush plus receiving. He also did that in 12 of 12 games last season when he had 12 carries, averaging 95.3 rushing. Is that up to 61.5 now?
Yeah. Everything is going up by a point or two. And quite honestly, over the next 2 days, it's going to go up another point or two probably.
Yeah.
So just shows you the value of trying to lock these in by Thursday or Friday. If you can. So yeah, love Swift. I like his rushing yards. I like his receiving yards. So the rush plus receiving is nice. I also like his rush attempts. I locked that in at 9.5. It's already up to 10.5. You could still get it at 9.5 for minus 156. But I mean, look at that track record. Obviously, different team, but they're going to get him involved, right? Just like we talked about last night with Derrick Henry, new guy in town. He's gonna get 10 rushes in this game, and they're going to try to take the pressure off of the rookie quarterback by giving a few handoffs, especially early in the game. So love 10 rush attempts, even like it at 10.5. Jordan, you got anything in this game?
Yeah, was looking at Tajay Spears, his receptions. I kind of also like Tony Pollard's as well, but just going to Tajay's not his receiving yards, but his receptions.
Wow.
I feel like he's still going to be involved. I think it's going to be like a 50-50 split between him and Pollard. So I like that, and that's actually plus money at plus 102 on FanDuel. So I was kind of liking that spot. And then I also kind of just like I'm kind of torn between doing that or just throw in Tajay 2 receptions and Pollard 2 receptions. And just parlaying those two together is like 110 on Bet365.
Yeah, it's a pretty I mean, for as bad of a season as Tony Pollard had last year, he still had a 78% hit rate just for two receptions. So that I'm a little scared to play any of those guys, like for their, receiving yards, rushing yards, just because I don't know how it's going to play out there. But alting them down, and especially in the passing game, I think that's a great way to approach it in this one.
Yeah, I think Chicago's defense near the end of the year really picked it up. And if you look at the metrics last year, they actually were pretty good defense in the year. And so I think that there's going to have to be some dump offs, some probably screens to slow up the Chicago pass rush. I think that Chicago's defense is actually pretty decent. I like receptions get some or some running backs get some receptions in those spots.
Yeah, we made a lot of money last year on running back receptions. Those nice 1.5 or 2.5 reception lines. I love when those cash early.
Love it.
And I know you
that
did
with
that
Justin Hill last night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Crush that.
All right, Tim, I got a question for you. You're a rookie quarterback first game you've ever played in the NFL, who are you going to throw to?
Are we talking about? Am I any team, or am I the rookie quarterback for the Chicago Bears?
I mean, the Chicago Bears. We'll start with that.
Yeah, I'm throwing it DJ Moore. I just paid him.
Nice.
I just paid him $100 billion. He was so reliable last year. This is the thing. I didn't realize it. I follow football heavily, and when we were going into these drafts, I was like blown away by their roster. Like we're talking about DeAndre Swift, like he's a backup. He's still got it. They've got Cole Kmet at tight end, who's going to be a weapon, and their wide receivers are Keenan Allen, who, whatever people are saying about him, DJ Moore, and then you've got the rookie Roma Duzé, who might be the best of the three. We don't know yet. If I'm a Bears fan, it all falls. There's never been more pressure on a rookie quarterback. He's got everything he needs to succeed. And if I've got DJ Moore, who's been there, who absolutely balled out last year, and he's also on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping he throws it to him. But that's where I was looking here, man. Like, I'm curious to see what happens week one. Is if Caleb's is the truth, like they've drafted him, the Bears might be they might be a problem.
They could be scary. I was kind of hoping you would have said Cole Kmet, because all you've done the last 3 months is talk about tight ends.
I love Cole Kmet. I love Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I was setting you up to say
but
Cole
I'm
Kmet,
throwing it to DJ Moore
but
15 times.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with DJ Moore. I love
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I like that DJ Moore pick. Cole Kmet at 22.5 receiving yards seems like a no-brainer.
Look what he did with Justin Fields.
Right, that's my point. He's got.
I'm a Ohio State guy. Want to love the guy.
Rookie quarterback. I think they'll play it conservatively. Probably not have too many deep ball opportunities in this game. Maybe play it a little safer with the running backs and also with the tight end. I think he's good for 3 or 4 receptions. 22.5 seems like a no-brainer. That's actually my
he's on my tight end list this week for sure. And when you got a rookie quarterback, you throw it soft, like we're talking about those running backs. And then if there's anybody other than a running back, it's going to the tight end.
Yep.
And he threw a heater of a first pitch out for he's a local guy from Chicago, so there's like that hometown story. He threw a heater, so I think he's coming in hot this year. I love the receptions there.
At the Cubs or the White Sox? I hope you're going to say the Cubs.
He threw for the Cubs.
Yeah, that's anybody can throw.
Good choice.
Anybody can throw better than the White Sox.
Yeah, it was nice. It was real nice. But yeah, obviously, sorry to disappoint you, but DJ Moore might just be. He might be Justin Jefferson for them.
Yeah, I mean, he could get 60 yards on one catch, right?
But then you have Keenan Allen, and you've got like I got to see a game before I put any money on it.
Sure.
But Cole Kmet receptions dump valve is where I was at. Yep, cool.
All right, Houston, Indy. Indy's getting 3 points, so home underdog. 48.5 is the total in this one. Tom, what do you like in this?
I got one from each team. So I like Anthony Richardson rush yards here. He played just over 1/4 of a game against Houston last year in week 2. He had 3 carries in that first quarter for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns in just over a quarter of play against Houston. If you look at other similar running backs against Houston last season, Kyler Murray played them. He had 7 carries for 51 yards against Houston on November 19th. Russell Wilson, not really, as mobile as he used to be, but still 10 carries for 44 yards against Houston on December 3rd. So we're getting Anthony Richardson here. I got a 41.5 rushing yards. You have a nice mismatch. Warren Sharp has Indiana's offensive line ranked 8th overall. Houston's front 7 ranked 17th. So a nice mismatch. Anthony Richardson running behind a nice offensive line. Yeah, love him. 41.5 crept up a little bit, but I think it's still good.
Yeah, looks good. Looks very good. Jordan, you got anything in this game?
Yeah, I liked Nico Collins, his receiving yards line. If you look at his matchups last year, he absolutely crushed versus Indianapolis. I'll wait for you to pull that up.
There you go. And that's for Indy.
Yeah, versus Indianapolis, he absolutely crushed 146 and 195. One of those games was without Tank Dell, but I mean the other one, Tank Dell was still there. So Absolutely crushed. Last season I was actually not surprised by Nico Collins' breakout. I was like, I thought he was a great receiver ahead of time. He was just a little bit limited by some garbage quarterback play. And CJ Stroud's been he's been the truth. I mean, CJ Stroud's been amazing. So I really like his play, even in like just looking at Nico Collins versus the division versus the AFC. What are they? AFC was that South? Is that what they
South.
are? Yeah,
South, yeah.
just versus versus the division. I think you have to take off the.
Yeah,
he crushed versus division last year. Yeah, so I really like Nico Collins in his spot. Probably gonna sprinkle on some alt yards too on that, but really big fan of him.
And you're not worried about? I believe they brought in Diggs this year as well, right? Am I correct about that?
Yeah, Stephon Diggs is their receiver now.
Yep.
So are you not worried about him taking away some of the share, or you just think that Collins?
I'm not. I think at this point in his career, I think that Nico Collins is actually the better receiver.
100%.
There's a guy that like some like football knowers are like they follow heavily with receivers, and it's Matt Harmon. He's got some work over called Reception Perception, and I'm a big fan of some of the stuff that he puts out. He's like, man, Nico Collins is absolutely amazing, and couple that with he was talking about how Stephon Diggs has actually started to decline. I think he'll probably be okay out of a slot, and he'll be good as far as like he's got two other receivers that people got to worry about. So I don't think the decline's he's not gonna drop off a cliff, but I think that he is on the decline of his career right now.
Yeah, certainly. That's what Buffalo thought. They said his antics weren't worth the talent anymore at this point. So
yeah, be who he can afford to be.
Exactly. Tim, you got anything to add for this game before we move on?
So I looked at this game two ways. One, if it was what it is, which is too early in their career quarterbacks and a lot of questions on the changes, and then if it was in midseason form. And I think the game script is going to be such a big factor. Like CJ Stroud's passing attempts is 35.5. He played him twice, 47 and 26 were the two games. And then the other one was the completions, 30 and 20. So the game script of where they're at against Indy is one of the biggest swings of his rookie career. I'm going to tight ends. Schulte is an absolute stud. I would use his alt receptions. That's probably the only thing I would touch. I was really curious to see what CJ Stroud does with Collins. You guys talked about this already. Mm-hmm. But his like 25 receiving yards and probably 3 receptions would be totally fine for me. Schulte's a stud of a tight end. He was incredible in Dallas, as much as I hate to admit that. And so him in Houston, I think he's a little bit forgotten on the tight end world because Houston's kind of where you went to die. But with CJ Stroud, if he can have the attempts like that first game they played against, I think everybody covers their receiving reception lines. But I think he's safe. So that's all I got. It's a game script. It could be a shootout, or they could get behind or get ahead and it never throws the ball. And Joe Mixon's a target hog as a running back. He likes to catch the ball. So they've added a valve there. I think that's a little bit more, needs more food than where they've been. So I'm staying away, but I love Schulte and I love a tight end. So if you want to throw in those receptions at like 3+, fucking party on.
Jordan, are you willing to say that Houston is the best team in Texas at this point?
I don't know if I'm willing to say that. I'm willing to say that. I am willing to say that I think the trajectory of these two teams are going in opposite directions in the future. So I will say that. As a realist,
your Dallas is upside down on your head, indicating the direction that the Cowboys have been going lately. So
yeah.
Can I just chime in here? I want to talk about one other receiver for Houston, which let's just cover every single receiver for Houston right now.
You can't leave anybody out.
Tank Dell was my guy in this spot. His receiving yards was 49.5. He led the team by far in air yards per target last year at 14.3 air yards per target. For comparison, Collins was at 10.9, and Stephon Diggs, obviously in Buffalo, he was at 10.4. So a solid 4 air yards per target higher than both of these guys. Combine that with from week 8 on, the Colts allowed the 3rd most yards before catch. So their secondary was allowing some deep balls, and it goes hand in hand. Warren Sharp has Indiana's secondary ranked 29th overall. So almost the 3rd worst secondary in the league, 4th worst. He played 10 games last season, right? I think. Yeah. He cleared this line in 7 of 10 games, right? I guess it's crept up now, so that I have him at 40. I had him at 49.5.
For 48.5 at Caesars. So yep.
Okay.
Nice.
So in 7 of 10 games, in the 3 that he missed, just to dig into him a little bit, he had 16 yards in a blowout win over Pittsburgh, a 30-6 blowout win over Pittsburgh when Stroud and Collins just went like insane. I think Collins had like 170 yards, something in that game. One of the other losses, he had 16 yards again in it was that game against Arizona. That was the Cardinals' only their 2nd win of the right. Am I looking at the right? Oh, no, I read that wrong. It was Carolina. Sorry, I thought that said Cardinals. Carolina, which was only their 2nd win of the season, just a weird game. And then the first game, which was a blowout loss, the first game of his career, that was a blowout loss to a tough Baltimore defense. In the 7 overs, just worth noting, he averaged a 32-yard long reception. So 60% of he's getting 60% of the way there on one play most of the time. So in those 7 overs, he averaged 91.9 receiving yards in those 7 games. So I love Tank Dell in this spot. I think because he missed some time. And people are scared off of with Diggs being there. I think maybe this line's a little low. I love this spot for him.
Yeah, his longest reception he covered last year against him too, with ease.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember.
I love long reception props. Love them.
Yeah,
I tried to use yours from tonight when they wouldn't let me put it in with any other place. They only let you play it straight.
Yeah, a lot of times
Bullshit.
they won't let you
Mhm.
play those.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy last night.
Exactly.
He did it twice too. He ran one and caught one.
So we
Yeah.
like every wide receiver on Houston. That sounds good. Everybody who catches the ball there
Mhm.
is going to do well in this game. All right, let's go. Minnesota at New York. Tim's team, the Giants. New York's getting, am I right? 1.5 points at home. Total is 41.5 in this one. Tim, lead us off here. What do you like? I know you've done some research on this game.
I like 2 things. Daniel Jones' beard is looking top notch, and it got him K. Adams. So, you know, when they say like Deion Sanders, you look good, play good, pay good. He's looking good, and people are noticing. So I'm hoping the off-field improvements in his life, alleged improvements in his life.
What happened to Shams, man? I thought her and Shams had something going on.
I mean, if you had to pick, no offense to Shams, a beautiful man, but if you had to pick between him and Daniel Jones, where are we going? I mean, he's a good-looking guy. He's not a lot of personality. I did see some fire for him in the offseason, and I like it. I am not putting any of my own money on anything Giants related. I'm going to watch this game and see what happens. Malik Neighbors is an absolute freak. He's going to have 45 targets for us to throw for 250 yards. I don't have any. You don't bet your own team. I'm running so far away from it. Like I'm betting on Saquon on the wrong team in the wrong city. Like that's how far away I'm running from this game.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, how healthy is Daniel Jones? How good is Malik Neighbors? How dialed in is he? And can the offensive line hold up? We've got a starting running back who's a little, I would say, no offense to him, but like a little bit lower tier than a Saquon. I wish we just paid Saquon. But yeah, I'm keeping away from it. I'm going to see if the off the field improvements bring us a Danny Dimes back, and that's all I got.
And who knows if you can trust the skinny Brian Daboll? That guy
exactly
lost like 50
right.
pounds
Ozempic,
too, right?
Legend. We don't have a tight end. I mean, we have Bellinger. No offense to him, but we don't. We had the Darren Waller trade is the thing that I'm most. We got Darren Waller thinking he was going to be the future, did nothing, and then retired. So we lost twice on that. I'm hoping that there's an acquisition of like an actual stud for us to be like one of the only teams without a Trey McBride up and comer. Like Evan Ingram is going to be the top tight end in the league again this year for a different team. So that hurts, but I'm just hoping we bring in a tight end and then I can just bet on that. But stay away from this game. If you're a Giants fan, that's all I'll say.
All right. So Danny Dimes went to the Zuckerberg School of Transformation in the offseason.
Glow up. Yes.
Tim's loving
He
that.
got that money, dude. He got that money. You're not ugly. You're just poor. Tom Brady said it the best.
All right. Let's use that as an opportunity to just pick up some time since we're running a little long. Let's move on to the
I'll save you. Run away from
afternoons.
that game.
Yeah, run away.
Wait, hold on. I got a good pick from this game, real quick.
Tom
quick.
just won't let me regain any
No.
time on this pod. All right, go ahead.
No.
Quickly.
It's
No.
all right.
Justin Jefferson over 81.5 receiving yards. Minnesota's got a great
Smashing.
offensive line. The Giants have the worst secondary in the league. Sam Darnold is actually not so bad when he's not playing from behind. I don't think this Giants team is just terrible. I don't think he's going to be trying to play hero ball here. He's got some studs. He's going to have some time behind a decent offensive line. In the full games that Jefferson played last season, he went over in 7 of 9, averaging 116.3 receiving yards. Against the Giants last season, Tyreek Hill 181, Brandon Cooks 173, CeeDee Lamb 151, Debo 129. I mean, monster games. Even Garrett Wilson had 100 yards. Like, come on, he's clearing this line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
I had that as a spot. It was smashing. I'm alting his lineup too. I mean, he's like those big name receivers. They were crushing last year against the Giants. Sorry, Tim.
Oh no, I watched them all. I'm very familiar. It's tough. It's tough.
All right, now we can move on, Dave.
All right, thank you. No, I'm glad you didn't skip that because the best.
Thanks
way
for just
to,
shaving that knife right in there, reminding me that we
yeah.
get Justin Jefferson week 1. Doesn't matter who's throwing it to him. I could be out there. He's going to catch 150 yards.
And Darnold's got some familiarity playing over at MetLife. So
I don't know if that's good familiarity or bad, but
I don't know.
the ghosts. What do you call it? The ghosts?
You might see
Ghosts
some more
out there.
ghosts.
Yeah. He's seeing ghosts. Did he see ghosts there, or was it somewhere else?
No, I think it was there.
That was in the wrong side, the green side of the stadium. We got no ghosts.
All right, let's move on. Afternoon slate. We got the Pats at the Bengals. Bengals minus 8.5 at home. Totals low in this game, 40.5. Probably mostly because of what the Pats will do in this game. Jordan, you got anything on this one?
Which game is this? Sorry.
Pats, Bengals.
Honestly, this is a game I was like, I'm not touching right now. I don't know what's happening with. I don't know what's happening to Jamar Chase. I don't want any part of New England's offense right now. This is just a stay away game for me.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's move on, please.
Let's move on.
I just can't with this game.
There we go. Tom's making up time.
Yeah.
More
Nice
fun.
work.
48.5 point total in this one. I like that better. We got Jaguars, Dolphins. Dolphins are minus 3.5 at home. Tom, what do you like in this one?
Tua passing yards over 267.5. Jacksonville's secondary is ranked 26th overall. Last season, they gave up the second most completions of 40-plus yards in the league. Monster games. If you go over and look at odds versus Jacksonville, Josh Allen, 359. Jake Browning, 354. Gardner Minshew, 329. Joe Flacco, 311. I mean,
jeez,
like crazy. They haven't changed much. You had guys like Baker put up 283. Derek Carr 301. I also think if you look at home games early last season, just click on home for Tua. You can see he's like a warm weather guy. As the season goes on, like he kind of gets worse there. I think as the weather gets colder, it gets a little bit more difficult for him. And then just click over and look at what Tyreek Hill did at home. Just this is the guy he's going to be throwing the ball to. At early last season in Miami. The guy's just click home. Down there. Like just monster. He needs 267. Tyreek's getting 150, 180, 160. Love this spot for Tua.
Man, so we got Jefferson for 100, Tyreek for 100, Nico Collins for 100. That could be a nice little 3-legger that we're putting together. I like that.
Ooh.
All right. Jordan, you got anything on this one?
Yeah, I actually have a little builder from this one. Waddle 4+ receptions, Tyreek 4+ receptions, and Tim will love this one. Ingram 4+ receptions.
Look at
Um,
Ingram's receptions.
Ingram
100%.
Ingram's
4+.
receptions are
He's getting the ball.
crazy. I think it's with an E, not an I.
Do you remember the team that
Thank you.
drafted him? Because I do.
I was in basketball mode there still.
New York Giants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a Giants very, very highly touted prospect. And then
Go
hurt
look at his
myself.
last 20. Last 20, Evan Ingram,
4+.
4 receptions.
That's a lot
Hundo
of green.
P. Like he's hitting that. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Crazy.
sure. Especially in a game
Love
like this.
that.
48.5 point total. Yeah, I like that.
Yep, love that. Waddle was 19 of his last 20 hitting 4+ receptions at home. And then Tyreek Hill is 93% over the last 30 of hitting 4+ receptions. So it's plus 100 over on FanDuel. Just all three of those guys get 4 receptions. So I'm smashing that.
Let's do it. I'm locking that one in right after we get off. What about Mostert? Anybody like Mostert in this game?
I
Afraid
got
of
to
it.
see how they use the combo.
Let's see what he's got. I think his line is so low at 44.5. I don't know if I would go for the 45 yards, but I do think if you're looking for another leg to throw into a builder, you can get pretty good value on him just at like 25 or 30 yards. And that will give you like minus 400. So not a bet by itself, but certainly if you're looking to boost up any other builder that you got, I think Mostert for another 25 or 30 yards would be excellent because he's going to get probably 10 to 12 carries in this game, and he'll get there. All right. Anybody else? Anything else for this game?
Evan Ingram
Nope.
was my
Ingram.
luck.
Ingram.
Yeah.
All right. Tight ends. It's always tight ends for Tim, unless I ask him a question and set him up, and he goes with the wide receiver. Carolina, New Orleans. New Orleans is -4. Total is a lower scoring game again, 41.5. Tom, what do you like in this one?
Can we just lump this game in with the New England Cincinnati game and just not talk about it?
I'm not even going to watch it.
Fair enough. I'll
Why did
There's
you
not
have
a single
something?
tight end except for Taysom Hill in there, and he's not even really a tight end. So
only thing I was leaning, this is more of a lean than a play, is just Bryce Young pass attempts again at 30.5. This is something we played probably
Last year,
yeah, probably like half of the games last year, and he continuously Tom would always convince me to play the pass attempts instead of the pass completions for Bryce Young, which is brilliant because he's going to miss a lot of throws.
yeah, what was his target rate? You said in Houston how bad, or in Chicago, Darnell Mooney was the worst. I bet last year Bryce Young was pretty high up there and missed downfield percentages.
Yeah.
But this is one of the few games that Carolina will be competitive in. We got a 4-point spread against a New Orleans team that's not very good. 2 games against New Orleans last year, we put up 33 and 36 pass attempts. So again, this is not probably where I'm going to put my money, but if I was going to play anything in this one, I'd go with the Young QB for 31 pass attempts.
Kamara receptions too. That's the only other mention I'd make is just see where he's at. He's just a reception monster. If you could get an alt in a builder with Evan Ingram and some other tight ends, you're looking good.
Kamara for the first reception of the game. We'll talk about that off air, Tim. We made some money on that last year.
Yeah. or just a reception first drive.
Yep, exactly. All right. Vegas and LA Chargers. Chargers are -3. Totals 40.5. Another low scoring game. What do you guys like in this one, Tom? Anything?
I didn't have anything official. I do like Josh Palmer just this season in general. I posted up on X earlier, in the summer, season-long future on him. I just think with the departures of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, you got one guy there who's been around, who's got familiarity with Justin Herbert, and I think he's I think he's in a good spot. His line's at like 47.5, right? I think.
Looks like it's crept up a little bit. We can still,
47.5
on FanDuel.
Yeah.
FanDuel,
I think
as a general statement, FanDuel seems to be some of the best value you can still get out there. So
yeah. I think that's a nice spot for him. And yeah, but no real official play. That was more of a lean.
all right, Jordan, you got anything?
Mine's a little bit more of a narrative play. I mean, he did smash last year versus the Chargers, but I like Devontae Adams in this game. Um, it's going to be tough because Harbaugh's in there now, but head to head, his last 4 games versus the Chargers, he's absolutely smashed. And the narrative play comes in here is his grandparents are going to see him in person for like the first time as an NFL player. And I saw an interview with him, and he was just like lighting up. It was like beaming up. Like he's so excited that they're going to be
cool.
there. So a little bit of a narrative play here that like Devontae wants to like go off for mom and pop, So their mom and grandpa gotta go off for them. So and this it's a little bit of maybe a lean, maybe just go like 100 yards and put like a quarter unit on it or something like that. But I kind of like him in this game with that little narrative and his history versus the Chargers.
That's
And
next
he's got
level stuff.
Minshew now, too, who fits into that. If whatever Devontae wants, I feel like Minshew's going to give it to him, right? He's going to be kind of his lifeline. So I actually really like Minshew here with such low expectation. I'm not putting any money on it, but it bodes well with what you're talking about. He might throw him the ball just like Justin Jefferson finally. You saw how mad he was in the receiver documentary. Just feed the man. He's still incredible, and Minshew will do that versus someone with an ego.
He's still an elite separator. I don't think he's fallen off at all. I think it was quarterback issues last year.
All right, so Devontae is going to get 100 of Minshew's 218 passing yards. Let's go
probably
for
more.
It. I love it.
Probably more.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, and he's on my fantasy team.
I will call out one other play. This is just another one of my season longs that I loved was Gus Edwards. Now you have the new coaching regime in there, and Harbaugh and Greg Roman. They love to run the ball when they were together in San Francisco. They had like one of the lowest quarterback drop back rates in the league. Like they love running the ball. So if you just take a look at Gus Edwards, click on all, Dave, and just put his rush attempts to 10. He's got almost 80%, 15 of his last 19 games when he's had 10 rush attempts. He's cleared this line 44.5 rushing yards. I think it's been a focus. It was in my, you can look at my season long write-up that's out there on X for Gus Edwards. I think this is a great spot for him. And you're going to see this line start to creep up as they see what's happening over here in LA and the new run focused or run first approach they're going to have here.
All right. Very nice. I like that. Denver, Seattle. Seattle's -6 at home. Totals 41.5. So another low scoring one. Jordan, you got anything on this one?
Which game is that? Sorry.
Denver, Seattle.
Yeah, I actually got a longer set prop here from a DK Metcalf. So love DK Metcalf for this season. I had his long reception line is over 22.5. And let me pull it up.
Wow.
So last season he actually hit that 75% of the time. Really like him in that spot. Big believer in Ryan Grubb, what he's going to do for them. Yeah, New Snack 22.5. I think I grabbed it at over 21.5 actually on BetMGM. So you get a little bit of value there, especially compared to FanDuel, who has it at over 24.5. And I think I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on 30 plus reception or long of 30 plus at plus 200 on Bet365. Might just a little quarter unit on that. But it's if you look at his over 30 receptions, he did it. I can't remember what the hit rate on that was. But yeah, if you like just move the line up, the alt lines up, and then he's hit that a lot. A lot of those games where he hit, only 3 of them actually where he hit, he was below 30 yards. So
yeah, especially in the back.
So 56% of the time. Yeah. So he hit that 56% of the time last year. And that's 6 of the last 10, and that's plus 200 odds for that. So really like that look.
Yeah, I mean, most of those were probably like 15-yard catches that he just dragged somebody 15 yards, another 15 yards with him, because nobody can take that guy down. So
No.
love that play. That's excellent. Yeah, really good value. Tom, anything for this game?
Just got a lean. I got a feeling on Marvin Mims. I think maybe people are sleeping on him. Sean Payton traded up to draft him in the second round last season. Now Jerry Jeudy is gone. Jerry Jeudy was getting about 6 targets a game. His line, Marvin Mims, is only at like 20 and a half, something like that. I just think it's a sneaky little spot. Obviously, the history is not there. I just have a feeling Sean Payton, he went out, traded some draft capital to go up and get this guy. I think he gets him more involved in the offense this season. I could see this being a sneaky little spot for him, but that's it.
All right. Very nice. Tim, anything on this one?
I'm going to surprise you heavily when we go to talk about Noah Fant, the tight end. But no, Noah Fant was drafted by Denver. First round selection, some could say a bust. I think he's a stud. I would look at his receptions, and if there's any narrative internally, he's an athlete. He's going to want to be like, there's got to be some like kind of fuck you, didn't work out. So I like his 2+ receptions in any sort of situation. I think it's like 170, depending 160, depending on where you get it for the 1.5. Maybe that's 2.5. Sorry. But his 2+ is a viable leg anywhere. And I do like him to cover the 2.5. I think he's going to be featured a little bit more. Obviously, they have JSN and the DK Metcalfs, but I only like it because, one, he's a tight end. he's an athlete, and I think that revenge narrative might come into play a little bit.
Let's see. Played against Denver and put up 3 receptions last time. Last time he played. So,
and he's featured very recently. Like if you look at the last 5 or 7 or something like that. He had a ton. I think he had like 4 and 5 receptions in back-to-back games. Of like the last 5. Yeah. Okay. So I guess just 2. Never mind. But 3, 5 in the 2. Use the 2+ and you're good to go.
Beautiful. All right. Let's move on. We got Dallas. Oh, go ahead. You got more?
I was just gonna say really quick builder piece. I really like JSN to get 3+ receptions. That's minus 400 over at FanDuel if you want just a little builder piece. So just throwing that one in there.
Nice. All right, we finally made it to Dallas. Dallas and Cleveland. Cleveland minus 2.5. Totals 40.5 in this game. We're gonna let Jordan explain why the Cowboys are the best team in Texas with his picks in this game. I'm sure you got something for this one, no?
Yeah, I've got a couple here. I've got a Cowboys receiver and a former Cowboys receiver. So I've got for a Cowboys receiver, start off with that. CeeDee Lamb, I got him over 80.5 receiving yards. I went through and looked at all the games that were single possession games that the Cowboys were in. In those games where it was single possession games, which is spread is the Cowboys are actually underdogs, 2.5 point underdogs. In those games was one possession. CD's lines were this: 7 for 117, 11 for 191, 12 for 116, 6 for 118, and 13 for 227. So in those close games where the Cowboys have to stay in it and they have to, it's going to be tough to get yards or going to CeeDee Lamb. And especially last year, once you look at after that San Francisco game where they got absolutely embarrassed in prime time, I think they really figured out hey, maybe we should give this guy with 2 8s on his jersey the ball a lot, and they did, and it paid off. So I like him in that spot just because of how close this game is going to be. I think Cleveland has a really good defense, really good secondary, but I really like Dallas to move CD around, get him the ball. So going with that as far as my Cowboys play, the play I like Amari Cooper over 56.5 receiving yards. This secondary is a little banged up right now, actually. Deron Bland is not playing, and he's injured to start the season. I think he's out for the first probably 5 to 6, maybe 7 weeks. And I really like Amari Cooper to hit this line, and he also hit it several times at home last year. Maybe a little revenge narrative. Hasn't played Dallas yet, but yeah, with this being his first game against Dallas, maybe a little bit of revenge narrative going on here. And also, one of the things I looked at as well, if you look at his hit rates with Deshaun Watson playing, he actually did pretty well with that last year. So,
yeah, pretty good.
yeah. So yeah,
I forgot he had a
year, so
265-yard game. That's insane.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's
Did he have like 3 touchdowns in that game too?
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he just did all of his fantasy
Something
points.
Two
in that game.
touchdowns.
2.
265.
3 in the 2 games though. Yeah.
Crushed
He basically
some
did like
fantasy
70%
owners.
of his fantasy points in
Yeah,
those 2
exactly.
games.
Exactly. All right. Tom, you have anything for this one?
I got nothing.
Passing on this one. Tim, anything?
Yeah. Again, gonna blow the doors off. Jake Ferguson.
Yeah.
Dallas offense is the exact same. You got Zeke, you got Rico Dowdle, which rest in peace to Rico Dowdle receptions. Last year in November, we started Rico Dowdle's 1+ reception, and it hit 7 of the last 8 weeks. I think that's over with. But everybody's the same. Cooks is on a downswing. Love the guy, but he's on a downswing. CeeDee Lamb's going to get the same target CeeDee Lamb always gets. Tolbert's been there for this will be his 3rd year. And then you have Jake Ferguson, who at 4+ receptions is you can put it. I'm fine with him at 3 or 4+ in builders. Again, I'm not taking any of this straight. I'm just putting tight ends together, 3+, 4+. That worked so well last year. That and running back alt receptions were really where we found it last year. So he's at the top of the list for the 3+ or 4+, depending on what type of builder you're building.
Awesome.
I believe the 4+ was like 80% or something like that.
Yeah. Hit rate
On the season. Yeah, 80% 4+ on the season. He finished the season 100% with 6, 4, 4, 6, and 10. So same quarterback, same offense, same everything. I think he's just going to keep getting the same targets, if not maybe like an increased role.
Yeah, I like that.
I love it.
All right. Let's wrap up. We got Washington, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay -3.5. 42.5 is the total on this one. Jordan, you got anything on this game?
I'm staying away from this game personally.
It's probably a smart move.
Didn't touch
Tom?
it, so
Yeah, my boy Rashad White. Bet him a lot last season. Did well. He's in one of my season-long futures. Love his rushing yards, 57.5. One of the teams with no split backfield. He was second only to Joe Mixon last season with 76% of his team's rush attempts. He played behind the worst offensive line in the league last season. Warren Sharp now has them ranked 19th overall, so a slight improvement. He got a new offensive coordinator in there. They went out and drafted a center with their first-round pick, so they want to establish the run, beef up their offensive line a little bit, and he gets this matchup against Washington. 13 running backs. Remember, there's 17 regular season games. 13 running backs ran for 58+ yards against Washington last season. And not only that, twice DeAndre Swift played against them when he was with the Eagles. He had 56 and 57 yards, so just missed it. And then you have the split backfield in Atlanta between Algier and Robinson. They combined for 88 yards. Neither of them cleared it on their own, but they combined for 88 yards. So you had basically almost every single game Washington played last season. The opposing running back went for more than 58 rushing yards. I love this spot for White.
That's beautiful. I love that a lot. All right, Tim, you want to wrap it up? Anything else to add in this game? K. Dotton for us or anything?
No, I don't. I don't love him. The Sunday night game. We'll save a top 3 tight end for next time. We'll leave them wanting more.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
But if you join right now or join anytime, you're gonna get so many tight end winners. That's just know that's what's coming for you.
Yes, sir. And cross sport. Tim is a big fan of the cross sport. You'll get like a tight end plus like Caitlin Clark and Mbappe or something like that. So it'll be
Yeah,
it'll be a lot of fun.
people think they
A
gotta
team over
separate.
1.5 goal.
Yes. People think they need to separate like by day. That there's no rules. Like we can have separate, and it can even be cross sport that happens today and then Monday. As long as we cash, the goal is we want to profit. So
Want to win some
that's all
money.
we're here to do.
Very nice. So I think
And
we probably put
yeah.
out like 20 something picks here today. You know, obviously we cull
if you
through
made it
these.
this far,
We're going to
congrats.
put our best ones out in the Discord,
Mhm.
put together some builders. So make sure you guys check out the PTM Discord. All of us are in there putting out our best plays and winning every month. So let's go.
All right, let's go. We had a nice
yeah.
nice start last night. Let's hope it rolls into tonight. Can't wait for this Friday night game. So cool, and looking forward to Sunday. But thanks for joining, everyone. Appreciate everyone that is watching on YouTube and X. And let's lock in some of these picks, and let's all make some money.
Let's
Oh,
go.
yeah. So yep.
Let's do it.